Hello, and welcome to the webinar of the Student Leadership Development Workshop. My name is Vikram Bharadwaj, and I'm a graduate assistant with the Student Activities and Organizations. And today, I'll be walking you through the I'm on the Exec Board, Now What presentation. So as part of the presentation today, I'm going to be covering three main topics. One, the process and importance of goal setting, the steps involved in event planning, and thirdly, some insights on how student organization executives can achieve good school life balance. So before we head to the next slide, I'm going to give you a while to familiarize yourself with the outcomes of this presentation. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with goal setting. Keeping it short and simple, goal setting is the process of defining the purpose of the organization. It highlights why the organization exists and what the organization intends to achieve. Just to help you understand this a little better, let's look at the three levels of goal setting. The first step in goal setting is defining the vision of the organization. When we say vision statements are basically broad, general statements that tell why the organization exists. Going further, goal statements describe what the organization wishes to accomplish. And finally, strategy statements encapsulate the ways in which the organization is going to accomplish the goals. So to summarize, the vision statement needs to answer the why question. The goal statement needs to answer the what question. And the strategy statement needs to answer the how question. Now, I'm going to walk you through the three levels of goal setting with an example. While I'm taking you through the example, I would encourage you to keep your organization in mind and try relate to what your vision and goal statement could possibly be. Alright, the example I'm going to be taking you through is of a not-for-profit organization called WWF. WWF here stands for World Wildlife Fund, and it is the world's leading conservation organization. Let's see what the vision statement of WWF is. WWF's vision is to build a future in which people live in harmony with nature. So if you observe, the WWF vision statement is a very broad general statement that tells why the organization exists. And here they're addressing the why question as part of the vision statement. Now let's see what the goal statement of WWF is. By 2020, WWF will conserve many of the world's most ecologically important regions by working in partnership with others. So if you look at the statement, goal statement is actually describing what the organization wishes to accomplish. And now, going with strategies, I'm going to read out 3 of the 5 strategies that WWF intends to take. First one, protect and restore species and their habitats. Strengthen local communities' ability to conserve the natural resources they depend upon. And third, mobilize hundreds of millions of people to support conservation. So if you look at these strategies, they are essentially encapsulating the ways in which the organization is going to achieve the goals and the objectives that they've set for themselves. The reason I'm emphasizing so much on goal setting is because the vision and the goals form the base of an organization. And it is extremely important to have a strong base before one starts an organization. Beyond this benefit, clear vision and goal statements provide direction to the members of the organization. It fosters teamwork and gives a sense of cohesion. And most importantly, it channels the group's time, effort, and ideas. Going ahead, when you're in the process of establishing your goals and vision statement, you should also ensure that the goals you set for the organization are very realistic, attainable, and feasible. You should also ensure they are flexible and has more than one method of attainment. And thirdly, the most important one, they need to have measurable results. Now that we've learned about establishing vision and goals, the next important aspect you as an executive board member needs to understand is the process of event or activity planning. So let's go through some of the vital steps involved in activity planning. The first step is idea generation and information gathering. Before you begin planning the event, be clear of the purpose of the event. Because only once you're clear of the purpose, you will be able to choose the audience who would be most relevant to this event. And with that, you will be able to clearly choose the type of event which will have the best impact on the intended audience. Here, the type of event refers to whether a social event, a formal event, an informal event makes the most sense for the intended audience and the purpose of the event. A couple of other things that I want to emphasize here are choosing the right date and location. Be sure you plan your event date such that it doesn't clash with any other major event or activity and is not during peak academic periods. For example, you'd never want to plan for an event during a basketball or a football game. Location also plays a very important role in event planning. True, it's not very easy to have a clear understanding of the number of people expected to attend the event, but be sure to have an approximate number in mind so you can use that information to plan for a location accordingly. Going forward, budgeting is a crucial aspect of event planning. You never want to run out of funds at times you need them the most. So plan ahead of time, be sure to look out for different sources of funding and include every small cost that you anticipate to incur. In order to get a deeper understanding of funding aspects of events, be sure to watch the activities form Bozo webinar, which is going to be posted on our YouTube link. Now, I'd like to take you through the procedure for creating an event on Boiler Link. As the first step, go to the link given on the point 1. This is the home page of the Boiler Link website. Once you get into that website, go to the Organizations tab and search for your organization. Once you enter the page of your organization, look for the Events tab and reach out to the Create Event tab. As you can see in the picture, the Create Event tab is circled. One important thing that I would like to mention here is, in order to create an event, you need to have access to the Create Event tab. So if you do not have access to the Create Event tab, write an email to sao@purdue.edu and request for permission to access the Create Event tab. Once you have permission to access the Create Event tab, you can go in and fill in all the information required and submit the event. Upon submission of the form, campus partners and SAO will verify all the details and grant permission once all the guidelines are followed appropriately. In order to understand the guidelines for each type of event, check out the link below for further information. Another important thing that I would like to mention here is, all events must be created on Boiler Link platform 2 weeks in advance. This step ensures that the campus partners and SAO have sufficient time to approve the event, or in case of discrepancy, come back to you so that you can make the changes and submit it back. So, having learned how to go about an event and having learned how to create an event on Boiler Link, we will now look at some of the ways in which you can publicize an event. There are a number of ways in which student organizations can publicize an event. One of the most efficient ways of publicizing an event is uploading an event flyer on BoilerLink. Once you upload a flyer on BoilerLink, the service ensures a broad reach by distributing flyers to MyPurdue Twitter page, Facebook page, Boiler TV, email subscription, RSS feeds, campus digital signage, university calendar, and the Purdue iPhone app and mobile optimized website. Another popular way of publicizing events is chalking. As you would have seen, student organizations look for strategic locations where they can attract many students and chalk about their events at that particular strategic location. Some of the other options you could explore are paper advertisements, where you essentially post event info on kiosks and designated bulletin boards. You could also explore the possibility of advertising your student organization event at the beginning of a movie in Fowler Hall. Here are some more options you could possibly explore to publicize your event. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds so you can familiarize yourself with some of the options that you could explore for publicizing your event. For more information on guidelines for each of the above options that you could explore for publicizing your event, visit the link which is on this particular slide. So, as a last step in activity planning, before you actually go ahead and implement the activity, here are 3 important things you should closely take a look at. Ensure all items have been completed and all details have been confirmed. Be sure that everyone involved as part of the project has a very clear idea of what their expectations are. Also, be sure that they're aware of where exactly they need to be and what time they need to be there. Having spoken of all the pre-event details so far, let's take a look at some of the post-event details that you should be aware of and careful about. Be sure that you clean up all the event-related materials and return any borrowed items to the appropriate sources. Secure all invoices from vendors and initiate the payment process. Also request for notification when vendors have been paid. Send thank you notes to all the speakers and special guests. And one of the most important things that you're required to do is to document the event process and make notes for areas of improvement. On this slide, I'm going to be taking you through the importance of assessing the progress of your organization. Assessing the progress of your organization helps you understand the strengths and weaknesses of your organization so you can build on your strengths and work on your weaknesses. In order to do that, we highly recommend that you and your entire leadership team meet on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis, whichever works well for the group, and come together for assessing the progress of the group. When you come together, discuss the events and activities that you had organized in the past and come up with a target versus achieved mapping. The target versus achieved mapping essentially helps you figure out how much of the target was achieved. It gives you a good picture of whether you underachieved or overachieved. Another important thing that we would like to mention here is we recommend you to do a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is essentially putting down the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the organization. By doing the SWOT analysis, you will know what worked well for you, what are the weaknesses, what are some of the opportunities that you could explore, and what are some of the possible threats that you will have to overcome in future. Lastly, as an executive board member, it is very imperative that you recognize the group and the individual achievement and thank everyone part of the team for making this happen. Being an executive board member, you're most often juggling between 2 or 3 important things, and this can sometimes stress you out. So it's very important that you are aware of how you can maintain a good school-life balance. So in that regard, I'm going to take you through some of the ways you can manage both your academic and club work effectively. Always set priorities. Rank the importance of each work that you're required to do and go in the order of the rank. So that way, if you have more work than what you can probably do in a day, you are still in a good position because you have completed all the important tasks for the day. Always be sure to estimate an approximate time period each task would take. And if you sense that you're overloaded with work, you can reach out to your colleagues and seek support from them. Also remember to set shorter and precise goals. That way, achieving each small goal gives you a sense of achievement and motivates you to take on the next goal. Lastly, when you realize that things are getting out of hand, simply put down whatever you're working on, take a breather, and allow yourself to forget about work by doing something that is very close to your heart. Something like dancing, playing the guitar, basketball, something that really interests you. By doing this, you will come back fresh, think of newer ways to achieve the objective, and will be able to do the job more efficiently. So, always remember, when you lose touch with yourself, you lose yourself in the world. And you don't want to do that. So be sure to maintain a good school life balance. Thank you for listening to the webinar. If you have any doubts, please write to us at sao@purdue.edu. Also be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.